Hello, hello. Sounds like good. Yeah.
I'll be here. Quick mic check.
Hello, hello, hello.
Okay. Thank you.
Sound good?
Yep.
Okay. Hi, Sharon. Is everybody here? Are we ready? Or I don't. Oh, okay.
Wherever you are. Yeah. I'll get over here.
You know, he actually craves attention, so for some animals it's harder than others, the apes and they really like the public. Hey there. How are
Lisa,
you?
I'm impressed you taught him to do social distancing.
He's actually not the best at it.
Yeah, true.
But I see that we have she's usually more shy, so the one behind you, Malay, but she is curious. She's missed having guests. Who's entertaining who?
My wife kind of Syria.
Yeah, it will. And fast too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, seriously, 2 weeks ago, there's nothing to, God, it's going to be decided in the house.
I forget where we had it here that we had to take it down because it was still
Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah, so instead what he did is he was there with, he was like, he had elephants, he was holding ferrets, I guess.
Yeah.
And he said, elephants are the size they're supposed to be, which is good for them. We're more like ferrets. The zoo got very, they were like, do not call the
Don't
elephants
call our
fat.
elephants fat. Yeah.
Start?
You ready?
I'm ready. Well, good morning, everyone. I appreciate all of you being here today. I'd like to thank Mayor Jacobs and our local media for supporting Zoo Knoxville through this crisis and also for being here this morning. As a nation, we're facing a situation unlike anything we've ever experienced before, with an unprecedented disruption to our lives and our economics, and with many around our country sick or fighting for their lives. In the midst of so much uncertainty, it's inspiring to see the care that we have for each other and for our community. On behalf of all of us at Zoo Knoxville, we're sensitive to the enormous needs in the community at this time, and we are so humbled that so many have stepped up to show their support. When the zoo closed on March 16th, we did so because the community's well-being needed to take precedence over our financial needs. However, the closure coincided with the beginning of area spring breaks and the time of year when the zoo begins to generate operating income that supports us for the entire year. Each day we are closed, we are losing an average of $22,500 a day. As a nonprofit who generates 75% of our operating dollars from guests coming through the zoo gates, this has created an emergency financial situation. But we will not compromise the care of our animals, but we do need financial help to bridge the gap until we can reopen. Knox County has been an important partner to Zoo Knoxville, and at this time I would like Mayor Jacobs to speak to the situation.
Thank you, Lisa, and thank you all for being here bright and early. The direct impact of COVID-19, we can see that with increasing number of cases and hospitalizations. But there is an enormous indirect impact that we don't see as easily. It's people losing their jobs and businesses closing. But it's not just businesses, especially small businesses, that are closing. It's also places like this that COVID-19 is having an impact on. The Knoxville Zoo, our #1 tourist attraction. The mission of Zoo Knoxville is to provide a dynamic guest experience and as a call to action for wild animals and wild places. And any of you that have ever been here realize that Zoo Knoxville has absolutely fulfilled that mission. So I'm here today to ask for the public's help and to inspire action to help save our wild animals in this wild place. As a 501c3 organization, as Lisa said, the zoo derives about 75% of its operating income from visitors. On March 16th, the zoo voluntarily closed to ensure public safety as part of the efforts to fight COVID-19. Along with that, of course, went all the people who would normally visit the zoo. So despite the fact that the people aren't here, the animals still are, and the revenue isn't here. So for every day that the zoo is closed, they're losing about $22,500, despite the fact that they have done everything possible to slash their budget, lay people off, but still the animals have to be fed and the animals have to be cared for. If you're in the zoo circle of friends, you've probably seen that the zoo has launched an emergency animal relief fund. You can visit there at zooknoxville.org/relief fund. I realize that this is, and I'm sensitive to the fact that this is a very difficult time for everyone financially, and there's a lot of community need out there. So it's difficult for folks to give at this time, but I know that they would appreciate anything that you can give. On Monday, my office will be issuing a proposal or proposing to the Knox County Commission that Knox County loan Zoo Knoxville $500,000 out of our hotel motel fund. The hotel motel fund can only be used for tourism related activities. Currently we have a $1.4 million surplus in our hotel motel fund. So we're happy to help Zoo Knoxville get through this very difficult time. And there's actually another way that the public can help Zoo Knoxville, and that's with trees and grass trimmings. Every day, an elephant will eat between 200 and 300 pounds of trees. So I'm going to turn it back over to Lisa for a second so she can tell folks how they can help in that regard.
Thank you. Just picking up where the mayor left off, it is true that our elephants and a lot of our animals here eat browse. We call it browse, but it's really tree limbs and the leaf that comes from trees. And you know, our focus right now, of course, is on our crisis relief fund, and we do have all of the food that we need and stock reserves of that. But fresh browse is something that we are always looking for. So elephants need that for their digestive systems, and they also need it just to thrive behaviorally as they would in the wild. So if you want to contribute to our browse program, you can contact the zoo, and we can talk to you about what species of trees that the elephants and gorillas and other animals can eat. There's certain ones that aren't healthy, and particularly if you are cutting down a tree, bringing down a tree after a storm, those type of things are when we can especially use that. And it is an active part of our behavioral enrichment program to provide that. We have been getting some other questions that I thought would be a good opportunity to address, and I touched on it just a little bit. One is with regards to our food. And so as part of our emergency preparedness plan, as I mentioned, we have stocked up on a reserve of food, and we have just about all the produce that we can physically hold without spoilage. So we're getting questions of, can we donate food? Outside of this browse program that I'm talking about, we really, we're okay in that regard. And the other is volunteering. We have been so overwhelmed by people saying that they would come out and help the zoo. That is so touching, and we do have a volunteer program typically, but right now even the zoo's core trained volunteers we're asking to stay home and stay safe. The zoo's core team who remains here to take care of the animals have divided into quarantined groups, and they are working in isolation from each other so that we can maintain our workforce to provide the best care possible for our animals. So thank you for those volunteer efforts, and I would encourage you that if you want to volunteer at the zoo, please go to our website and look at that volunteer program. We are always happy to have volunteers. We have over 270 right now, but even we're asking to stay home. So please come back to that. And in closing, we just want to help all of us as a community get through this together. One of the ways we are doing that while we're closed and practicing safer at home is through Facebook at Zoo Knoxville. And we're doing that by bringing the zoo to you. It's a program every day that takes you behind the scenes with our keepers and shows animal updates, and to see some things that you've hopefully not seen before, and to visit your zoo friends that we are hearing that you've been missing. Although the zoo is currently in a crisis, as are many businesses, we are very eager to reopen and to be part of an economic recovery driver for our community. Last year, the city's largest attraction, our tourism impact generated over $22 million to our local economy. Knox County's help will help us regain our footing. So thank you, Mayor Jacobs, for your leadership and for supporting us during this crisis. And again, thanks to our community for the just overwhelming and humbling support that you all have given since our closure and every day. So thank you.
There's no doubt this is a really tough time, and it ain't going to be easy, but we are going to get through it together. We might have to learn to live a little leaner, and we might have to learn to take care of each other in different ways. But together, we are going to get through it. And we are going to ensure that Knox County is the best place to live, to work, and to raise a family. Together, we always win. Thank you very much. Sure, Lisa, would you like to take some questions? I would move away from
Yeah.
the lemurs.
You're in a splat zone. Yeah, questions for,
For either of us.
yeah.
Mayor Jacobs, I do have a question about businesses in general.
Yes.
Will there be any response or enforcement regarding businesses considered non-essential in order to close in Knox County?
At this point, we're relying on the businesses to self-police. The health department, over the businesses that they have purview, that issue licenses, those sort of things, they can do visitations as well as other visits. All of this is really, the government we can ask people to do things, but in the end, it's the community that has to do that. And I'm sure that we will. We always respond appropriately. So in that regard, again, it's up to our community to come together and do what we need to do. Thanks. Anybody else? Lisa? Great.
I have another question then. Because of the care here for the animals, similar situation, agriculture has been a founding important industry in our area.
Right.
Any support for encouragement for the agriculture industry? Same thing. They have to care for those animals, even
Yeah.
though they may not have the income.
Right, and I mean, I know that the federal government and state governments are looking at different programs in that respect. Of course, Governor Lee is a farmer, and he is very concerned about rural Tennessee. So in that respect, I would have to defer to what they're doing as far as any direct action that are being taken. As much as we can support and help one another, I think that's the key, though. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, guys.